What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerdcast for the next episode of Pillars of Eternity, which is actually rapidly becoming maybe one of my games of the year. I mean, obviously, we're only in March right now, so there's a lot of ground to cover, but still, I'm having a good time playing the game. Let's have a look around and see what we can find here in town. Obviously, we probably want to hit up the inn, talk to supplementary people. I don't know if we're allowed to loot out of crates. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to steal out of buildings, though, so I'd probably avoid it. What's going on in here? This man and woman appear to have been deep in conversation, working at closing two bulging satchels. They move to embrace until the woman notices your approach and pauses, her smile faltering a little.
Welcome.
Can we help you? She looks to her companion, brows furrowing with confusion. Do you know this man, Nanton? Or Nanton? Yes, I think we met in the Valewood. I warned him about the bear. He inclines his head. Glad to see you've made it. Was there something else you wanted? You two seem to be in good spirits for people who just lost a friend. That's unkind of you to say. I'm grieving my husband in my fashion. I'm only sorry I could not convince him to leave Gilded Vale before this happened. I'm relieved to be rid of this terrible place, that's all. It cost me the greater part of my life, and now my husband, I'm glad to be free of it. You seem to be in a hurry. Yes, I imagine so. Ingrown Lao. I'm going to call her Ingrown from now on. We're packing for a trip, actually. I've been meaning to visit Defiance Bay, and looking at Nanton, well, in truth, I think I've had my fill of this town. Nanton reaches to take her hand. It's time for some new scenery, he says. This seems really suspicious to me right now. Is there anything you can tell me about Gilded Vale? Ingrown smiles wryly. Other than that, you'll be wanting to move as soon as possible. You'll have seen the tree, I imagine, but the rot goes deeper. If you were looking for work, I'd say you'd have a better chance of it elsewhere. We're headed for Defiance Bay ourselves. I have my suspicions as to what has happened right here. This dude seems like he whacked his friend so that he could take his wife. I don't know. It's a story as old as time, so it wouldn't surprise me if he had pulled a David and Bathsheba right there and taken the fool out so that he could get down with his wife. I mean, honestly, he didn't have to kill the guy. You could have been a shady bastard on the side, just kind of like waited till he was at work or something. You have to kill the dude. Leave him with his life or something. I mean, have a heart. Come on now. I'm just pointing out the logistics of this whole thing. Just pointing out the logistics. So which one is the inn? This appears to be the Black Hammer Smithery. Okay, so for right now, I'm not going to focus on that. We'll come back for that in just a moment. A villager off to this side. Where is our inn at? I'm out and around trying to find the inn. That's got sort of like a mill-like look, but I don't think that's the inn. Looking for signboards and things here. Here, let me send my character back this way. We'll see what we can find. So we've got the hanging tree right there. And then maybe that's the inn. That thing looks large enough to be an inn. Let's go for it. Let's see if we can make our way back over here. We'll explore a little bit better in just a moment. I don't think we were able to get in here just a second ago from that angle. Or maybe we were. I don't know. Theal Phalion. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a pennant waving in the breeze, you see pennants waving tall and sluggish in the wind, a rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant if restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward in full armor, but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth, his countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. That seems like it would be disfiguring after the first or second time. Silence falls among them, revealing a dark thunder deep and low. He orders them to ready their weapons and spread out. Eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds race towards them overhead. The soldiers stand, only the staccato movement of their breath betraying their nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down on his troop. Invigorated and invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack. Apparently I'm like mind-reading people. I should probably avoid like standing around mind-reading people and zoning out while they're actively like executing heretics. How's that sound? Let's stay away from that. We got Belrath's bell right there. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Or Bareth's bell. Aloth. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices, chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggests an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
Everyone calm down. Whatever this is about, I'm sure it's an overreaction. One of the other men glares at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. We're humble folk, but we're no fools. Not like he thinks, mocking us while he shelters in our village. We don't take to that kind of talk from foreigners, especially not Adirans.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Why, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
Did his accent change in between here and the last one?
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
Oh man, he's gonna have multiple personalities, isn't he?
That's where you're wrong.
Let's see here. This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? We don't want your charity either, foreigner. They squint at you through red, bleary eyes. It sounds suspiciously like you're defending him. Oh, shit. Alright, well, that's that. Throw that out real fast. See if I can get these guys off my case real quick, because my case, it's already completely and totally... Ooh! Dominated! Girl ran up on him and got clubbed. Damn, son. You know, we just murdered like 3 townspeople in the middle of the city. As the last of the attackers falls, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
Glad to be of help.
Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts, though your accent suggests that you are no more local than I.
He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath it is sturdy and fine.
Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire. Both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I'm grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land.
I had an open position once. It didn't work out so well. Now I can't go back to the park.
And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
In Gwithan ruins? Well, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Several hooded figures operating a strange machine. I don't know if I should... Let's just talk about the BOAC.
And you survived? I've heard such a thing was impossible. But it seems you either have a knack for timing or the favor of the gods.
How'd you manage to cross those 3 drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. He clears his throat and adjusts his sleeve. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. It happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I see. For which I am grateful. Let's discuss something else, shall we? What are you doing here?
Excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
And you? Well, like you said, I'm also a settler. Actually, I've been experiencing things. I'm going to try and find a cure. This guy's a mage. Maybe he knows. I've been experiencing strange things as of late, and I'm looking for an expert on souls.
Indeed. The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately.
His darting glance takes in the tumble-down buildings and fallow rock-strewn fields. I expect that such expertise would be best sought elsewhere. Alright, well I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
Yeah, you could be the Spock to my Kirk. Let's go.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Plus, we have no homies out here, and we kind of just murder people together. So I figure we both have a vested interest in, you know, a silver Lucci Okay. I guess I'll take some silver. I like silver. Alright, and so now let's go into the inn, which we probably have alienated ourselves from here, but who knows? Maybe murder is the way that we initiate ourselves to this particular community. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. We've got a couple of villagers in here. We've got Pasca. We were supposed to talk to Pasca about returning her... There's Tenfrith right there, in fact. And so we've got drunkards, we've got Orland servers. Okay, let's go talk to Pasca first, because we were supposed to check in on that. Don't loot stuff, I swear to God. Don't loot stuff, it will not go well for you.
Well met, friend.
Hello, and welcome to the innkeeper looks up. Oh, it's you! Tenfrith told us what you did for him. It's such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms. Tenfrith said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. She laughs. So what would you like? I could use some reliable help. Do you know anybody looking for work? Well, I can't say that I speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them your way. Let me see what I have to work with. Oh, you can take, like, generic adventurers? That's kind of cool. So that one allows you to sleep right there. Inns allow you to use camping supplies, or okay, so cheap rooms are available. If you have copper to spend, you get the okay, so you get the bonuses and they last for a long ass time, and they affect your entire party too. That's pretty cool, but it's a little expensive. There's our adventurer right there, and then this is going to be, oh my god, the camping supplies are kind of expensive too. All right, well let's unload some of these random goodies that we have around, shall we? I think this is going to be a good way for us to make some cash. I don't think we need the wolf hides for anything. I wouldn't be an expert on that though, so who knows. We'll throw those in there. We'll trade them out. And then I'll probably sell the beers too. Why not? Oh, they're not worth anything. Loverly. Loverly, loverly, loverly. Well, if I can sell out of here, I'd prefer to do that too. I'll probably keep a couple of general purpose weapons around, but much beyond that, I will more than likely sell everything else. That one's got 12 deflection. Okay, so let's get rid of the small shields for right now. Bows, axes, glaives, things of that nature. On this side, we've got a whole bunch of armor that we can sell off. I'll keep some of the lighter stuff, and then we'll sell off the rest. Here we've got helmets, but that's fine. We can hold on to that. I don't know that we have anything else that I want to get. I mean, we can get rid of a couple of torches, I guess. It doesn't look like they're really worth much, but it's worth a go. We got 10 CP for the chisel, but we might need it later. Let's go ahead and trade those all in. That puts us up to almost 1,000 copper, which is pretty good. I'd much prefer that our monetary situation be looked after before anything else, because having cash never hurts. It's always a good idea, unless your pouch becomes too large and like hits you in the hip. In that case, then yes, cash could definitely hurt. Or if someone throws it at you. Looks like Bag of Bones got himself another level up. I'll probably go further on in. Oh, a little into mechanics for right now, I guess. Maybe do, I don't know. I like to do jack of all trades type stuff when I do these things, so I don't know. We'll go in on lore for right now. Maybe a little bit of survival right there. That'll be cool. We'll go next, and then on our next level up, oh, we don't get any new talents. Okay, so I guess that means that we hang out right here. For class unlocks, we got a newest set of abilities. So we got Consecrated Ground, a long-lasting circle of healing. Okay. We got a Divine Mark, marks a target for retribution, inflicting burn damage and lowering deflection. We've got a Zone of Divine Flavor, or a Divine Flavor. It's actually pretty delicious. It tastes like that cherry that they use for those lozenge candies. But anyways, it gives Might and Resolve boost. That one is an Iconic Projection, a slow-moving energetic projection of the faith, restoring endurance to allies, inflicting freeze damage to enemies. Okay, and Still Doubt. It reduces the speed of our enemies. Prayer Against Infirmity. So it looks like that gives a bonus against sickness and weakness. Repulsing Seal. Places a magical seal on the floor that sends enemies sprawling on contact. Okay. It's also coated with all kinds of refuse and just disgustingness, so it's quite repulsive as well, not only repulsing. Restore Light Endurance. Shares a portion of the caster's divine strength, restoring some endurance to all allies in the area of effect. And then Suppress Affliction. Awesome. So we got a lot more options right now. I'd also like to go back through, and if I can... Let me put these healing things in these hot slots, and then I want to put on the hood too so that we actually match our character. There we go. So now we actually look like our portrait, which makes me happy because I'm the kind of person that cares about that kind of stuff. I don't think these do anything anyways. I think they're just like head accessories that look, you know, one way or another. So there it is. We've got our hoods on. By the way, what does our dear friend have? So Aloth has himself a staff, a scepter. So that's good for attacking. He's also got a rapier. What's up with this book? His grimoire. Ah, it allows him to have spells. And so it looks like he's got some first level spells that he's able to memorize. We should probably go through these and figure these out. What do these do? Okay. Can you do multiples, or can you only do one at a time? Oh, you can only do one at a time to keep you from stocking up. Okay. Or maybe you can do these a couple times a day, and it's based on that. So we've got Archimir's Dazzling Lights. Decreases will and leaves people dazed. We've got Kalikoth's Sunless Grasp. Does freeze damage to a target and reduces its accuracy. Wizard's Double. Grants the caster a high deflection bonus against one attack. Minoleta's Minor Missiles. 3 spell missiles that batter the target, inflicting crush damage and making them delicious and able to be sold at roadside diners. Fan of Flames. A cone of fire in front of the caster. Okay, we'll go with Dazzling Lights. And then we'll probably, I think the ones that they had in already were probably the ones we'll stick with. So there it is. Let's get back in here and we'll talk with Tennefer real fast. Ah, it's you, my savior. He makes a sweeping gesture to indicate the kitchen around you. It's so good to be back. Don't think that I will let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets, my dearest recipe, and after this, you will eat nothing else. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. Okay, and so I guess we learned how to make a hale and hearty pie. Is that in our crafting menu under food? We've got the... Is this it right here, the savory pie? Or is it the Rautai sweet pie? There's a couple of pies in here, so I'm not sure which one he just taught us. Does it say in our combat log? It does not say in our combat log. Perhaps... Oh, the savory pie. There it is. It's actually in the combat log. It's not in the dialogue. Okay, the dialogue, I guess. You wouldn't even have to call that a dialogue log. You could just call it the dialogue. Over on this side, I don't know if I loot this if bad things are going to happen. I have no idea. I'll test it out in between episodes, but the last time I looted something in a house while I was testing things out, everybody tried to murder me, and it was very, very unfortunate. I don't like it when everybody seems to have a vested interest in my impalement. I would prefer to keep that on the DL. There's copper and a potion of Wizard's Double. Alright, well I'm going to stay away from it for right now. I assume that it probably belongs to somebody else. I don't know what these soul-sucking things do, or if there's any point to it. I don't know. We've done a lot of reading in this episode, though, so part of me thinks that it's best to continue, like, running around. I know I want to do some of the dialogue. Actually, what's upstairs? Need to buy camping supplies, too. I'll probably fill up on those so that we can rest whenever we want once we're back out in the wilderness. I don't know if we have enough people right now to fight a bear. I would say that we probably need at least, like, 3 people to fight a bear, right? Sing us a song, Blissa. Roaches and ew. There's roaches inside the crates? That's brutal. Never mind then. All of these people have the yellow name, which means we can scan them, I guess. You see a man soar through the air, hitting a nearby wall with a nauseating crunch. He doesn't get up. His attacker, a burly, clean-cut warrior with a carnivorous grin, turns and shoves his fist into the stomach of another assailant, removing another from the impromptu brawl. The bar is a whirlwind of elbows, knees, fists, and feet with no end in sight, and he is in his element. In the corner, 3 smaller men speak quietly, throwing malicious glances at the larger man in the center. He breaks a chair over a tattooed head, cackling. The trio position themselves in 3 parts of the room. With a terse nod, they charge. Unfortunately for them, the man sees them coming. Something in his eyes burns brightly, and all 3 slump to the ground in agony. It's all in their minds. The burly man bows to a room of the unconscious and incapacitated before sauntering out, an off-key whistle trailing behind him. Alright, well, I guess we're just like mind-reading people and seeing their history. I don't know. Got an inn guest over here. Can we talk to you? Please leave me be. I'm full of sickness. Okay, never mind. The place and what I've seen in this place and these people. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too. God, somebody needs to... Like, do you guys not own a broom? What happened in here? There's a black hound? This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. The dog's tail thumps happily against the floorboards. We'll give him a pet. Why not? I like doggies. They can give your hand a nasty stink, though, if they haven't been washed in a while. And that's the only downside to them doggy pits. This room appears... This looks like it's clear right here. And so I think I'm going to steal like crazy now that I know nobody can see me. Do we have anybody with the mechanics? Oh, we do. Good. And so this one has padded armor, a duelist's hat, just in case you're into that kind of fluffy head shenanigans, those cranial accessories which accentuate the more feathery elements of one's person. I don't know if I'm into that, though. We do have a hood on right now. Maybe we'll put it on him, though. You want a feather hat? Yeah, feather. It deletes your hair, though. That's disappointing. That's been happening in a lot of games lately, where it deletes your hair when you put on a hat, and I don't know if it's an engine limitation or what it is, but it's been happening frequently. It makes me sad, though. See, typically when you were stealing something, it would be illuminated red in Baldur's Gate, as I recall, and in this game it's not, which leads me to be a little bit confused about what is, like, free to grab and what is not, because the thing that I looted before was actually in blue. It'll get you in trouble here. We got a villager over on this side. Alright, well, let's go resupply real fast. Then we'll get back out there, and hopefully we'll be able to adventure a tad. Go back down and in over here. Let me speed up the game slightly so we can hustle faster. Or hustle hard, as people prefer. I don't really care what the consistency of your hustle is. You can hustle soft or hustle hard so long as you're hustling. It doesn't bother me at all. It can be firm or squishy. Firm or flaccid, whichever you prefer. Let me see what you have for sale, because we need to buy some camping supplies, and so we have those up near the top. I will take all of them. Actually, we don't need that many. I think we can only carry so many. Let's bring 6. That'll work. Actually, we can only hold so much, so there it is. We can't hold anymore. On this side, we got a couple more things to sell. And so I think there might be some conventional wisdom in unleashing some of these objects to the ether here, wherever it is that they go. I'm going to try and sell everything on a central location, because if this is like every other Baldur's Gate game, they're all going to sort of like coalesce right here. I guess they're going to coagulate in the spot. All the items that you've aggregated over the course of the entire game are going to end up like in one spot, and it makes it easier to buy things back if you really, really need to. Since we can't hire another... Oh, we can hire an adventurer for 500 CP, and we can make them whatever we want. Let's rest in the common room for right now. That's pretty cool. I like how they went to all the effort to, like, put in these little splash screens whenever you rest. It is like one of those little touches that I feel is necessary. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. My sleep is always punctuated by hisses as well, but that's because my cats get grumpy when I move around in my sleep. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like a moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches away from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up, and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts. With a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her, an animancer. Though it fills you with a new queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Okay, so let's seek out the dwarf woman, I guess. Let's speed the game up slightly so that we can run around a bit faster. I like the music, too. That's just like a bunch of like, oh. It's not like people like doing like all that random Gregorian stuff. You can actually still find those too. There's up on YouTube, and there's a bunch of like random stuff out there where I guess they found the sheet music from back in the olden days and they recreated it or whatever. Kind of cool. Oh god, she's glowing. That's not good. Corpses aren't supposed to do that unless you've lit them on fire recently. Well, damn. I don't know how to affect this. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breezes shift. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Zoom. You take a deep breath. You gotta precede this by going zoom properly. You take a deep breath and clearing your mind, focusing on your objective, you exhale and feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt in your mind, a ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman, and when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, as she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear, or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well, a wonder.
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whispers that sprouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
So I think I survived a biowack. Any idea why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said that they break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Alright, well, let's be on our way, I suppose. I'm not really interested in the old lady. I'm gonna be totally honest right now.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldara closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose. and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Aloth looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seem lost just now. I'm a watcher. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin, and I expect that explains how you survived a biowac, huh? In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about Watchers? Only that they're rare, and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions. He coughs, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on. Well, that's that. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerdcastle for the next episode. 17 and a half. What the hell does that mean? The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with a straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look isn't aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta. The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you a moment, his brow arched, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible, I don't drool half as much. Ha! So you're already familiar. Still, you'll have to forgive my curiosity. Round here we prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead. You know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Yeah, none taken. Good. They don't mean it personal when they hang folks around here. I have to remind myself.
Town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
What does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
So what you're saying is that pointedly they enjoy hanging people. You can see why I was eager to leave. Well, if you're next to be hanged, why are you still here? Drinking mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out, just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Widewind's legacy started with Widewind. You travel together. Where are you headed? Some place called Cade Nua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
I even remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Alright, let's get riding. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for a longer episode of Pillars of Eternity. I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Take care out there, everybody, and hi-do.